We are today beginning Canto 3, Call to the Quest. It opens with a scene. Ashwapati is sitting in the morning, contemplative, quiet, and suddenly, as the dawn breaks, he hears a voice as if it is the aspiration of the earth. It addresses him as representative of humanity, takes him to task for moving round and round without going further, and asks, how long will you be content in circling your petty rounds? After the voice has awakened him to the urgency of breaking through the limitations and bounds in which humanity has so far consented to stay, before he could find the answer, the princess Savitri steps into his room, stands before him, and he takes it as the answer to the question, and he tells her that a time has come when she must go out in the world and find her companion, with whom she has to fulfill the mission for which she has come. And the canto closes on the note that by the next morning, Savitri has left alone in a caravan car, and the palace finds itself empty. Now, to go into detail, a morn that seemed a new creation's front, that is a morning that is something new. It is not like every other morning, as if it is a front of a new creation that is being born, bringing a greater sunlight, happier skies. Morning came, burdened with a beauty, moved and strange, out of the changeless origin of things. This morning is burdened, is carrying a beauty, moved, vibrant beauty, something new and strange, out of the changeless origin of things. That beauty has been moved and has a strange character, as it has come from the changeless origin of things. An ancient longing struck again new roots. This longing, this yearning of the earth has been there for a long time. It is ancient. But today it strikes again new roots. It is articulating itself once again. The air drank deep of unfulfilled desire. All over in the air there is an unquenched desire. The high trees trembled with a wandering wind. All the tall trees are vibrating, shaking under the impact of a wind that is wandering, like souls that quiver at the approach of joy. The souls vibrate even before the joy arrives, because they know that the joy is round the corner. And in a bosom of green secrecy, the green forests in the secret regions and the dense regions of the green forests, forever of its one love note untired, a lyric coil cried among the leaves. That is, in the depths of the green forests, that cuckoo, that bird, it is always calling one note, and it is a love note calling its mate. It is never tired, and that is crying among the leaves, crying, calling its mate to love. Away from the terrestrial murmur turned, where transient calls and answers mix their flood, the normal, worldly, earthly murmur, mixture of sounds, which is full of transient calls. People want things which are very temporary, which are passing. So transient calls and transient answers, they mix their flood in the normal terrestrial earthly murmur. Now King Ashwapati turned away. He turns away from the usual noise of earth, the humanity, where people ask and get transient things, things which are not of moment. And he listened through the ray, through the light, through the ray of light signifying the new consciousness, the new light that is breaking, brings its own consciousness. Through that ray, Ashwapati tunes his ear to other sounds than meet the sense-formed ear. The physical ear is accustomed to hear only sense-formed words. But through the ray, Ashwapati listens to subtler sounds. And where are the sounds? Unlocked, where the inner spirit's trance-closed doors. Somewhere in our inner being, the doors that open on the subtler worlds are closed in trance, as it were. By concentration, by invocation, we open them. Now here they by themselves unlocked were the inner spirit's trance-closed doors. The inaudible strain in nature could be caught as a result of the opening of these doors. The normally unheard strains, thread of sound in nature could be caught because the inner doors have been opened. Across this cyclic tramp of eager lives in our world, eager lives eager to snatch the transient fruits of life, they go round and round, cyclic tramp. Tramp is walking without purpose. Across the deep urgency of present cares, we have cares immediate and they are very urgent to us. Ashwapati's hearing cuts across those years. Earth's wordless hymn to the ineffable, earth's prayer, earth's aspiration, which is not couched in human words, to the ineffable, to the divine, arose from the ardent heart of the cosmic void, from the void in the cosmos, where the ardent heart is held. Earth's hymn rises up. He heard the voice repressed of unborn powers. There are powers which have been suppressed and repressed in the earth being. They are crying to be released into action. He heard the voice repressed of unborn powers murmuring behind the luminous bars of time. Time is a harp and it has got those luminous bars, and behind them these unborn powers are murmuring, wanting to articulate themselves. Again the mighty yearning raised its flame. The powerful aspiration, flaming, rises up. The yearning that asks, now what's that our yearning that is rising up from the earth being? That asks a perfect life on earth for men. We know a perfect life in heaven has been spoken of all along. But this deep urge in the earth being asks a perfect life on earth for men and prays for certainty in the uncertain mind. The human mind is uncertain, never sure of anything. What it believes today, it can doubt tomorrow. So, Sri Aurobindo describes elsewhere how our knowledge is burdened with a turban, is turbaned with doubt. So, in this uncertain mind, this yearning prays to the divine for certainty, for definiteness, and shadowless bliss for suffering human hearts. The suffering human hearts, for them, the earth being prays for shadowless bliss. The bliss must not carry any shadow, threat of loss, pleasure and pain, joy and sorrow. That contrary it should not carry. And truth embodied in an ignorant world. This world is living in ignorance. Here, the truth must be embodied. For that, the yearning rises, and Godhead divinizing mortal form. This transient form subject to death, they are to be divinized by God, a Godhead, by the concentration of God consciousness. So in one sentence he spells out the goal for man, for which the earth goddess prays. The mighty yearning raised its flame that asks a perfect life on earth for men, and prays for certainty in the uncertain mind, and shadowless bliss for suffering human hearts, and truth embodied in an ignorant world, and Godhead divinizing mortal forms. A word that leaped from some far sky of thought. Now what is the kind of word that Ashwapati hears? It has leaped from some far off sky of thought, admitted by the cowled receiving scribe. That is, there is in us a hooded clerk noting down what is the thought that comes, what's the feeling that arises. Now that receiving scribe clerk admits that word. That is the mind. There is always a sentinel in the mind which can admit or refuse admittance. Traverse the echoing passages of his brain. That word travels through the passages which emit echoes, passages of his brain, and left its stamp on the recording cells. When the sound travels, there are cells in the brain which record the stamp of the sounds, the words. So, this word has been admitted, it has traversed the echoing passages of his brain and left its stamp on the recording cells. And what is that stamp? What has it recorded? Now here follows. What is that word? O force compelled, fate driven, earth-born rays. Ashwapati is addressed as representing this rays, earth-born and fate-driven, driven by fate. Force compelled. You are not free, not sovereign, but compelled and driven. O force compelled, fate-driven, earth-born rays, O petty adventurers in an infinite world. You have got such a huge infinite world around you, but you are all busy with small, petty, little adventures. O petty adventurers in an infinite world, and prisoners of a dwarf humanity. The humanity which you have accepted and limited yourself to is a dwarf compared to what it can be. You have made yourself a prisoner of that dwarf dimension, and prisoners of a dwarf humanity. How long will you tread these circling tracks of mind? Circling tracks of mind. You know, the sports ground, you have seen the tracks specially laid. They go round and round. So our mind, human mind, has its own, never always mechanical mind goes round and round, the same thoughts repeating themselves even after years, the same scenes repeating themselves. He says, how long will you tread these circling tracks of mind? And those tracks of mind are built around your little self and petty things. All your day, all your life, all your years, all your life, you are spending around your little self and the petty things of life. All your energy, all your awareness, all your time is spent in attending to these little things, petty things, for the sake of your little self, but not for a changeless littleness where you meant. You human beings, you are not meant for this unchanging littleness, day in and day out. Not for vain repetition where you built. You are only repeating today what you did yesterday. You will be repeating tomorrow what you have done today. Useless repetition. And he says, not for vain repetition where you built. Out of the immortal substance you were made. He reminds, the voice reminds. Out of the immortal substance you were made. Your actions can be swift, revealing steps, not circling in small rounds, but fast going, swift, revealing, opening up new vistas. It can be them. Your life a changeful mold for growing gods. Gods are growing here, gods are growing in you. You are suppressing them. Each one is a growing god. And you have to be plastic. You have to keep the mold growing, changing. Instead of that, we are set to a pattern, suppressing the Godhead in us. So he says, out of the immortal substance you were made. Your actions can be swift, revealing steps. Your life a changeful mold for growing gods. Essia means, he has used capital words, mean to say the divine. One who sees beyond the physical range. Essia, a strong creator. He is within. You are not what you appear outside alone. Within you, there is a seer who sees. There is a creator who can create what he sees. The immaculate grandeur broods upon your days. The unvitiated, unspoiled, pure grandeur, glory of God, the majesty, broods, dwells upon your days creatively. Almighty powers are set in nature's cells, little microscopic cells in your body, given by nature. In those microscopic cells, almighty powers, powers which can achieve anything, are shut. They are to be released gradually. A greater destiny waits you in your front. You are not meant to sit where you are. This transient earthly being, if he wills, can fit his acts to a transcendent scheme. If this transient being called the human, if he wills, he can certainly fit his acts into a transcendent scheme of God. That is, every act of his or hers can be a portion, can occupy a part of the transcendent scheme of God. He who now stares at the world with ignorant eyes, present man who stares at the world not understanding what is there, trying to understand the perplexities presented in nature with ignorant eyes, hardly from the inconscious night aroused, he is hardly awake after his long sleep in the spell of inconscience. He has been just aroused. These eyes that look at images and not at truth. What our eyes look at are only figures, images, and not at the truth of which we are seeing images. Can fill those orbs with an immortal sight. That person, he who now stares, can fill these eyes, orbs, round eyes with an immortal sight. If he wills, if he cares to, he can look with the sight of a God. Yet shall the Godhead grow within your hearts. You have got so many handicaps. You have just got up from the sleep, inconscient sleep. Your eyes are ignorant. And yet, he says, yet shall the Godhead grow within your hearts. You shall awake into the Spirit's air, into the air of the Divine Spirit, and feel the breaking walls of mortal mind. Mortal mind. The mind subject to ignorance and decay. Self-made walls. When they crumble as a result of your ascent, you can hear, you can feel the breaking walls of mortal mind and hear the message which left life's heart dumb. There is a message of God. When life heard it once, it was dumb. It couldn't believe that such a thing is possible. And life's heart was left dumb once when it heard it. You can hear it again and look through nature with sun-gazing lids. Our eyes can't look at the sun now, but it is possible to gaze at the sun of truth and look through nature. What is the secrets of nature? And blow your conch shells at the eternal's gate. This is a wonderful line. And blow your conch shells, conch shankha, at the eternal's gate. You need not be shouting here in the little marketplace of the earth, but at the gate of the eternal, you can blow your conch shell. That is, you can articulate your prayer. You can say what you want. And blow your conch shells at the eternal's gate. Here, to read again those passages. Yet shall the Godhead grow within your hearts. You shall awake into the Spirit's air and feel the breaking walls of mortal mind and hear the message which left life's heart dumb and look through nature with sun-gazing lids and blow your conch shells at the eternal's gate.